The International Criminal Court, which looks into war crimes, crimes against humanity and genocide, has suffered a dreadful blow to its reputation. A panel of judges at the court has decided that the prosecution cannot initiate a formal investigation into war crimes in Afghanistan, despite the fact that the prosecutors have been laying the groundwork on a preliminary basis for the last decade. The judgment of the judges was highly problematic. It verges on incredulity. The judges said, and I am broadly explaining rather than as definitive refinement, that basically the gathering of evidence would be difficult, perhaps not sufficient to sustain a case, that the various governmental entities, the government of Afghanistan and the Taliban and the United States, would not agree to cooperate, that generally they couldn't pull a case together, so no investigation should proceed. Ah, yes, but these judges are guilty of pusillanimous cowardice, if ever there was any, because of course they have capitulated to the United States, which has made it clear, Donald Trump has made it clear, John Bolton has made it clear, that no American citizen or American service personnel will ever appear before a judge of the International Criminal Court. And thus it is that Africa feels that everything is focused on them. The only country where a serious formal investigation has been initiated outside of individuals and governments in Africa is the country of Georgia. So Africa feels entirely punished by the court. And so they should. The court won't even consider an investigation into Tony Blair and George Bush and their various operations in Iraq. So the court is reduced to kind of gymnastic legal calisthenics in order to make a case. For example, surely no one would disagree that President Assad in Syria deserves to be indicted for war crimes or crimes against humanity. But Syria hasn't ratified the Rome Statute, the statute of the International Criminal Court, so they're exempt on that basis. But you could get a referral from the Security Council of the United Nations, but that referral would be vetoed by Russia. So there's no way to move on Syria, except that a group of Syrian refugees now located in Jordan, claiming the commission of war crimes and crimes against humanity, have subpoenaed the court in effect to initiate an indictment. And thus Syria would be pulled into the mix if that was possible. In a similar analogous case, Myanmar, which hasn't ratified the International Criminal Court statute, has nonetheless indicated that Rohingya refugees were subject to war crimes as they moved to Bangladesh, as they fled to Bangladesh. Bangladesh has ratified the statute. Therefore, if a case can proceed from Bangladesh, it could sweep Myanmar into the mix. You see, that's the way the court is reduced to dealing with obvious war crimes and crimes against humanity. It's an awful situation for the court. Instead of pursuing norms of international justice, they are reduced to fighting for survival. That was last week. Next week is Passover and Easter. I'll exempt myself from next week. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. I'm Stephen Lewis.